Hey everybody, I'm Gary Palmer Jr., you're you, and together we are Minting Coins, your trusted source for crypto news, interviews, and ICO reviews. Thanks for showing up. Tap that like button. It really supports us and it helps other people find this content. Also, if you have any questions, leave them in the comments box below so your voice is heard as part of the community. In today's episode, we're talking about Bitcoin, we're talking about the pending Bitcoin bull run, and we are seeing all sorts of signs coming out where we may experience major mainstream adoption. We're not going to be talking about it today, but the Dow, the stock market in the United States, is experiencing additional drops, and people have a lot of concern about the risk of inflation coming into America, coming into a lot of places across the world, going into the rest of 2018. If those fears are either real, or if enough people think that those fears are real, then it could create additional disturbances for the stock market. And as people are pulling their money out of the stock market, looking for places where they could put their money, it may go into Bitcoin, which has these amazingly crazy deflationary properties. And with that, the U.S. Senate just had their Senate hearing a couple days ago. We're finding out now that the U.S. House of Representatives is going to be meeting with other cryptocurrency experts and leaders of industry about Bitcoin and blockchain technology. So there's a lot happening. There's a lot going on. The European central banks are looking at Bitcoin and recognizing it may be in their best interest to start holding Bitcoin. That stuff that they said was a fraud, the stuff that they said was a Ponzi scheme, the stuff that they said was a scam that no one would want or need because there's no central authority to regulate it. Well, now the central authorities are starting to look at it and realize this is an asset that they may want to hold on to. Let me tell you something. They already know that. They already realized that a long time ago. And it's just a state of transition where different people are already on the boat. Not everybody is on the boat. People are starting to recognize that there is even a boat there. And before long, people are going to realize it's not actually a boat. It's really a rocket ship. And we're reaching liftoff. So with that being said, let's jump real quick into the market, see what's going on, take a peek at the news, and let's discuss. All right, so starting over here at livecoinwatch.com, taking a look at the market, we have Bitcoin over here at a current price per Bitcoin, $8,200. That means 1 millibit is only $8. So if you wanted to purchase 0.001 Bitcoin, it's just $8. If Bitcoin was $10,000, then 1 millibit would be just $10. So there's no reason why anybody has any excuse to not play with Bitcoin, because you should be able to afford to lose $8. And if you can't afford to lose $8, then you're right. Maybe you shouldn't be playing with Bitcoin. But if you can afford to lose $8, that's how much 1 millibit of Bitcoin is. The total market cap of all cryptocurrencies is currently $391 billion, still shy of the all-time high when we were seeing it go up and beyond around $500 billion. Our Bitcoin dominance 37%. And so what we're expecting to see is a flood of money come into the market. Will that happen? I don't know. Does anybody know? Nobody knows. This is all huge speculation. This is a huge amount of risk. This whole $391 billion could go to zero, or it could go up, right? So the answers are it could go up, it could go down, it could stay the same, or it can all blow up and disappear from our memories completely, I suppose. Website I like to use, coin360.io. Get the full view of what's happening, past 7-day performance, what's up, what's down, and we could see what are some of the trends in the data, and we may just come over here and take a peek at this time to time. But it's not enough information. We're also checking out CryptoWatch, cryptowat.ch, to check out the trends in the data at a high level to see not just in the past 24 hours how things are going up or down, but to get a great overall view, the trends across the market. And so these are some great tools if you want to keep an eye on the market and recognize some of the data points which are a lot more interesting than what you're going to find on just looking at coinmarketcap.com. So let's talk about some of these predictions. Over at Cointelegraph.com, we have crypto experts who are expecting a bull run with a $50,000 Bitcoin for the markets to hit over $1 trillion. We have Jamie Burke, CEO of Outlier Ventures, quoted here talking to CNBC, predicting a bull run that would be followed by a general settling down of the market. What they're saying is that they believe that in February, the market will likely go into a bull run, comparative, if not greater than last year's bull run, potentially reaching $1 trillion mark before the crypto winter sets in and the market becomes more focused on proper market fundamentals. Separately, we have Thomas Guxman, head of APAC Business Gatecoin, and Thomas is quoted here as saying, "There is no reason why we couldn't see Bitcoin pushing $50,000 by December." This is the general consensus. A lot of people are talking about a $50,000 Bitcoin, and this has been a prediction really since the end of 2017, that by the end of 2018 it would reach that $50,000 mark. It remains to be seen. I mean, if the demand for Bitcoin remains the same or increases, then it seems as if it's a reasonable prediction, recognizing that there's a lot of pressure on Bitcoin to go up and not as much pressure on Bitcoin to go down. There are far more people in the world who don't have Bitcoin than the number of people who do have Bitcoin, and we can see a flood of money, a rush of money come into it really easily. So what could trigger this bull run? Well, one possible appetizer, as the person goes on quoted to say, the catalyst of the crypto recovery could be the release of another cryptocurrency-backed instrument listed on a major exchange. Taking a cryptocurrency and applying a cryptocurrency to a traditional financial instrument, perhaps something like an ETF, an exchange-traded fund. So this person is quoted on saying, Guxman is quoted on saying that there's several candidates in the pipeline, and it's only a matter of time until we have a cryptocurrency-backed ETF. Well, a little information that is public information, there is already an ETF. There's the Ethereum Classic ETF. The Ethereum Classic, the original Ethereum, very similar code to the Ethereum ETH that everybody knows and loves. Well, on Coinbase.com, which is indirectly owned by the same group of people who run the Ethereum Classic Investment Trust, they could very easily, I would imagine, their engineers put Ethereum Classic there, just as if they already have Ethereum, and then that could bolster the Ethereum Classic ETF that already exists on this platform that already has the Ethereum technology. So that's our bet about the next coin that's going to be added to Coinbase, but it remains to be seen. We really have no way of knowing what that's going to be. But based on that information about that idea about the next coin to be listed on Coinbase, and this person recognizing that an ETF could trigger the catalyst, it's definitely interesting to see the possibilities blow up there. Also, very, very important to point out that even with the coming collapse of these different crypto tokens out there, the bubble of crypto tokens, which may or may not exist, a lot of people recognize that, generally speaking, the vast majority of tokens and currencies are probably going to fall very low in value, and there's going to be the cream of the crop, the winners, the few winners that really rise to the top. Well, with that being said, we want to pay attention to utility tokens, not necessarily IOTA or NEO or Ethereum, but those tokens and the tokens surrounding their platforms, utility tokens and assets with a working platform, and a clear-cut reason for requiring both a blockchain and their own token, are more likely to appreciate in value this year. Some of these crypto assets will not be used for years, meaning that they're going to have no utility value. And so if there's a cryptographic token, a utility token that has a strong team, that has an existing platform, and it has a reason to exist, then those tokens are going to just have more purpose and more value, because there's going to be people using them and other people working on the development of using those tokens and the application of those tokens in the environments of which there is existing demand. And so just as some guidance of what to look for, there are some clues right there. Moving over to Silicon Valley and Forbes.com, we have the Silicon Valley legend Tim Draper, who says Bitcoin and other cryptocurrency is going to take over the world. This guy already has a ton of wealth in cryptocurrency after purchasing a ton of Bitcoin from the seized Silk Road U.S. Marshals Service, involving that whole fiasco and the confiscation of the Bitcoins from Ross Ulbricht back when they were taken from him, and Ross Ulbricht, who's currently spending life in prison for running a website. So we'll talk more about that, and you'll hear more about Ross's name, and everyone involved in the space should know who Ross Ulbricht is. And we should all try to, look at the laws and look at the world and make the change that we want to see, so innocent people aren't going to jail for running websites. Anyway, Tim Draper goes on to say, I don't know why anyone would want to go back to fiat, dollars backed by countries and central banks, when crypto is distributed, secure, and global. And fiat, regular US cash, is subject to the whims of political forces. And so this is what Tim Draper is saying. Tim Draper goes on to say that he believes that Bitcoin and cryptocurrency will drive most of the commerce around the world, and that is the philosophy that this business legend is putting forward in his social circles, in his circles of influence, and he's backing up what he's saying with his wallets, purchasing crypto, purchasing into cryptocurrency-backed companies, and I'm sure in the background he's definitely doing what he could do to lay the foundation, lay the groundwork for cryptocurrency in the coming months and the coming years ahead. And then from Tim Draper to the Winklevoss twins, they're saying that Bitcoin's potential of growing is 30-fold in the next 20 or 30 years. Potential to appreciate huge amounts, right, from its current value to this new value, 40 times greater than it is today. And part of the reason why they're predicting this is that cryptocurrencies, they're saying, aren't really as important, for human-to-human transactions. But when machine-to-machine trade economic value, then they're going to want to plug into protocols like Bitcoin and Ethereum, and they're not going to want to open up bank accounts at JP Morgan Chase or use technology like Ripple. And so the Bitcoin and the Ethereum technology is going to be just taken to the complete next level when we get more AI systems, more Internet of Technology type technology that's talking to each other, talking with other technology, and trading value with decentralized open source blockchain technology, not distributed ledger systems or centrally controlled digital payment systems. All right, wrapping up here, we just had the US Senate talk to the SEC and the CFTC about Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies. It was surprisingly positive, even though there's a lot of questions about what that means and if we're going to see follow through with positive changes for the majority of people and not just for a select few. Well, with that being said, we now have the U.S. House of Representatives that has a date on Valentine's Day with blockchain technology, talking about blockchain technology with a whole bunch of people. People from Walmart, people from the National Institute of Standards and Technology, the NIST. We have IBM, we have the Congressional Research Service, we have people from the School of Law, and people are going to be talking about the Bitcoin to blockchain technology. It's not immediately clear if this is going to be televised, and it's also not clear what the goal of the hearing is going to be, but it is very interesting that this House subcommittee is going to be coming just a week after the U.S. Senate committee. Notably, the Subcommittee on Research and Technology has the power to allocate resources to developing projects, and maybe it's possible that we'll start seeing some projects being developed on a national level using blockchain technology. How that's going to help usher in and bring Bitcoin into more people. If it's not directly, it's going to be using the awareness of the technology, and as it starts to seep into people's lives, people are going to start to recognize it, and just like they eventually wanted to have their own email addresses and their own websites and their own social media accounts, with the first round of the internet, they're going to start to want their own Bitcoin and their own Ethereum and their own cryptographic tokens with this new industrial internet that's decentrally being built all around us. And what's being built around us is being also built around the existing infrastructure. And what the existing infrastructure is the traditional system of global banks around the world. Well, the European banks are now admitting that they could soon be holding Bitcoin after being so against Bitcoin, after thinking it's a fraud and it's a scam, it's a Ponzi scheme, it's a bubble, it's worth less than a handful of tulips. They're now looking at Bitcoin. You go, you know what? That's some of the stuff that we want. And they're recognizing that because it's, Bitcoin is showing up on futures contracts by US exchanges, it could show up as additional financial instruments across Europe. As we were just talking about, there could be additional crypto financial vehicles that are going to start popping up. Could be the cause of the catalyst of the new crypto bull run going into 2018. Central banks are starting to get nervous. We've been talking for a long time that companies are going to start to acquire Bitcoin. People and startups, banks are going to start to look at it. Banks are going to start to acquire it. Countries are going to start to acquire it. Countries are going to create their own fiat crypto asset. Countries and banks are going to start holding Bitcoin and digital assets as reserve currencies. Once this starts happening, it's going to start this digital crypto arms race, this gold rush for as many countries around the world, hundreds of them, and the central banks around the world to start acquiring as much of this crypto as possible to hedge the ever-increasing risk that cryptocurrency is going to displace both finance and technology all across the world moving forward. So this is coming from the same guy who's previously stated that the European Central Bank doesn't have the authority to regulate Bitcoin. This is coming from the same guy who said that Bitcoin and cryptocurrency has a pretty limited impact and poses, no risk for central banks. Now this is the same guy who is admitting a different tune, and between the hearings in the Senate, the hearings coming up, the banks and central banks and countries around the world turning around, we're about to come into an explosion of activity, and the markets are going to react. So with that being said, what do you think about all of these hearings that are popping up in the United States? What do you think about the European Central Bank recognizing that they're going to have to hold and hodl some Bitcoin? Do you think this is going to cause a trigger effect for other countries and other central banks around the world to come to that same conclusion? And as people are starting to look at fiat currencies and cryptocurrencies, why is anyone going to want fiat currency and continue using fiat currency, as Tim Draper was saying, when Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies are distributed, global, secure, and allow for the open, decentralized trust for everyone to be on the exact same page as everyone without having to worry about the political whims, the corruption, or the insecurity of the centralized authorities' effect on the fiat money supply. Thank you for watching this content and learning about this information with us. Don't forget to tap that like button and subscribe. It encourages us so much, and it helps other people find this content. Also, if you're interested in behind-the-scenes access, special rewards, and a direct connection with me and our crypto community, then become our patron at patreon.com/mintingcoins or via our website at mintingcoins.com/join. We look forward to connecting with you because together we are minting coins.